Hello, everybody, and happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name's Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today, joining us in the back catalog listening party from their homes in the Boston area, Matt and Shannon Heaton.
Hello.
Hey! That's right.
That's a Friday crowd.
That is a Friday crowd, and folks joining the party early. You can tell I was getting my beverage ready when I had the surprise on screen. My mom joining us from New Haven. Hi, Mom.
Hey, Linda.
And Connie from Richfield.
Hey, Connie.
And Robert must be joining us, or was recently in Wisconsin, because he has a new Glarus, which you can only buy in Wisconsin.
That's right.
And
hi, Bob. Nice to see you.
Chris joining us from Savage, Minnesota, and having an Uda Pills, and that's a Minnesota beer. Carrie Dexter, hi Carrie, and enjoying the banjo intro. Well, one thing we should tell folks who maybe are new to the back catalog listening party and might not know this, our theme song was written by Anthony Ihrig, co-host right here. So that's from his solo album. And Diane, one of our new Patreon members, joining us from Southwestern Michigan with some A&W root beer.
Nice.
Hey, guys. Nice to see you. And Carrie, nice to see you in Florida. I'm glad you're here with us. Exciting.
Yes. And a lot of folks have some choice beverages going on today. And I am pouring out. I didn't have a good Irish whiskey to enjoy today, but for this Celtic happy hour that we're going to enjoy. But I do have Summit Brewing from here in St. Paul has a wonderful NA beer called Nialis Irish Dark. So it's and it actually tastes like a dark Irish beer.
Nice.
So, and you can tell by all that foam. I also did a bad job pouring it, but it's in my back catalog listening party pint glass, but you can't see it because the beer is so dang dark.
Yeah. Well, that's very exciting.
I'm going Michigan as well. I'm having an Oberon, a Bell's Oberon Eclipse in honor of the upcoming eclipse, which I put in a little can cooler thing here from our favorite brewery in town called Bone Up Brewing, but they have gone out of business, sadly. Landlord problems, friends. Landlord problems. Terrible.
You doctored up that koozie, right?
Yeah. They make the big cans, the koozies are for the big cans, and I put it in, and it sank way down in there, and so Shannon modded it for me. So I have. So
that is a
right before we went live. Make sure the snacks are organized.
Kind of lucky.
The beer koozie.
Kind of lucky we made it back, to be honest.
Yeah. But I hear that you still haven't found your pencil case. So if anyone has seen Matt and Shannon's pencil case, let them know in the comments.
Please, it's beloved. It's a little brown leather, very well worn pencil case with Blackwing pencils in it. My favorite. Anthony, I think you like Blackwing pencils.
Blackwing pencils. There's, hands down the best pencil out there.
Half the pressure, twice the speed, as they say. Right. Love those pencils.
You can interchange the erasers, and it's something special. Yeah. And it looks Diane is also having an Oberon, a regular
Very
Oberon.
Nice.
Yay.
Awesome.
Well, if you are just joining us here on the back catalog listening party, let us know where you are tuned in from, if you're enjoying a beverage or a snack for this happy hour. And this is the show where we invite different guest artists to revisit old records with us. And again, we'd love to have your interaction, ask questions. That's half the fun. And of course, the other half of the fun is the music. And we're so excited to have Matt and Shannon Heaton joining us today. They have a new record out, which they're going to tell us a little bit about. But the focus of this hour is going to be traveling back in time to 2009. Simpler times. And we're going to enjoy their album Lovers Well. And but before we do that, for folks who maybe are less familiar with your music, maybe you can give the brief origin story of where each of you grew up and how you found each other and started making music.
Well, I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am the son of a church organist, and there wasn't Irish music. There was a lot of music in the family, but not Irish music specifically. But I kind of found myself drawn to it in high school. And at that point, there wasn't really, there was no internet, so it wasn't that easy to find stuff, unless it was right around you. And it wasn't until I went to college in Chicago, which is where I met Shannon, and there is a lot of Irish music in Chicago all over the place. And so that's kind of where I fell into it, I suppose.
And I needed a guitar player for a gig. and I got a few names.
Hmm.
Matt was actually third on the list, but he was the first one home.
Yep.
And we turned out we really got on. And also you were very interested in Irish music, and I was playing Irish music. And so you came along.
Yeah. I realized our whole thing like wouldn't be possible today because it would have, you would have just texted someone and they would have texted you back, and Steve would have gotten the gig instead of me.
Yeah, I think it worked out.
Yeah,
Just all for the best.
I'm fairly pleased, but yeah.
That's great. And was it like, were you kind of focused on the traditional stuff at first, Shannon? Was that kind of where you were coming from?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of always been my main interest is Irish traditional music. I mean, we've also had forays into other styles of music completely, but it's really Irish music, the traditional dance music played on Irish flute. That was always my interest. But, I listened to lots and lots of different kinds of music, always had different interests. So I'm always composing tunes and songs that bring in different influences. Also, as a kid, I lived in Thailand. And so a lot of my earliest songs that I learned were in Thai, and these Thai ballads are not unlike Irish songs. And so sometimes I do have a little bit of that in my imagination when I'm writing as well. So,
Cool.
I mean,
And
there's a little something in there, of course, all the time, because that's authentic to me. But I mean, it's all drawing from the kind of pure drop Irish world.
And where did that come from for you? Was that something that you grew up around?
Irish music
Yeah.
was something that was very important to my grandpa Murphy. And while he was kicking, I have to admit that I didn't really want to learn to play the tin whistle with Grandpa Murphy. And then my family lived in Nsukka, Nigeria when I was 7 and 8 years old. And my mom said, well, we want to give you some music lessons. And there is a piano teacher in the neighborhood from Belgium, and she's taking on students. So we're going to send you there on Wednesday afternoons to learn the piano. Well, I went in the first day and there was a tin whistle sitting on her piano, and I picked it up and I just started playing a few things that I'd remembered, that I recalled hearing in my family. And it turns out that you get Brazine not only taught to the piano, but knew some Irish folk tunes and taught me some things. So my first real exposure to learning Irish melodies was from a Belgian piano player in Nsukka, Nigeria.
It's a fairly common story.
Totally heard that
awesome.
one before.
Yeah. Usual.
Well, I love that. That's so wonderful. And now you two have been based in Boston for quite a long time, right?
Yeah, we moved here in 2001. So, yeah.
Excellent.
And when did you start recording your music and putting it out together?
Well, we played together in a band called Shukra, which was a trio. It started out as a trio with a singer, and
Actually, it was a quartet. It
Well,
was
at one
you,
point.
me, Kat, and Andrew.
oh yeah, they earlier.
Andrew
yeah.
Bird was our
Yeah.
first fiddle
Right.
player.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we went to college together, and he played a lot of Irish music back in the day. And so we had a group, Shukra,
Right.
and then moved to Boulder, Colorado for just a couple years.
Hmm.
And the band pared down to just 3 of us with the singer Beth Leachman.
So
was
that would
really
be
great.
that would have been the first recording, right? Which I can't remember what year
Probably
that was.
1995 or so.
Let's go with that. And then our first
97,
yeah,
97,
somewhere around there. Our first duo recording was
2003.
2003, and it's called it is called Darga, which is one of the Irish words for red, and it has a very lovely photograph that we do not have ready to show you right here. But that one is almost entirely instrumental. There's only a couple songs on it, and the new
Excellent.
one's almost entirely instrumental. So
Well, this one that we're going to enjoy today came out in 2009, Lover's Well. And tell us a little bit about where this came in and maybe what was different about your approach to making this record.
I think this one was the first big theme number for us. Was
concept
it?
album.
A concept album. Everything on the song is quite simply a love song. That's not a huge, it's a vast theme. So we could kind of take it any way we wanted, really.
Yeah.
But we did kind of take it seriously, and it ended up being this funnel. Like we were really hunting for love songs in every sense of the word. like songs about love, all the different complex forms of love, jealousy, murder ballads, all of that can kind of be part of
Happy
the
endings,
love
sad
story.
endings, gruesome
Sounds like
endings.
bluegrass music
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
A lot of that.
The thing that was maybe most notable about recording it is this was our first, a friend loaned us her house down on Cape Cod, and we brought our friend Eric Merrill, who was at the time was doing a lot of recording and engineering,
Whom we love.
and so we just set up in the house and had there we are. Yeah. So we just kind of took over the whole place and had mics and cables everywhere. And we would, we slept there, and in the morning we'd get up and have coffee and then start recording if we wanted to, we were on a very we knew we had to get it all done.
There's Eric setting
the
up
top
the
of
cables.
Eric's head. Yeah.
And the photo before that was Matt and Keith Murphy, our dear friend Keith Murphy, whom we love.
Yeah, we brought in a couple special guests.
Yeah, playing the Lily of the West together.
Yeah. Oh,
that was
nice.
you guys actually recording that track.
Well, that's a good segue to the first track we have lined up, actually.
Let's do it.
We will be digging more into the recording process as we go, but I know people are jonesing for some music, and we just saw the actual recording session, so we got to play the song now. So the first track is Lily of the West. Can you tell us a little bit about how this one made it on the record?
Well, again, the real myriad of experiences when it comes to the love topic. Lily of the West is this tale of jealousy, and this guy catches his beloved with somebody else and commits an act of murder, which is terrible. And then he ends up he goes to court and he gets off on a technicality. And this song is wicked old. And I just love that, it's such a specific story, sort of strange. It was really appealing. It's in Colin O'Loughlin's Irish Street Ballads, this beautiful old book that has wood cutting illustrations. Anyway.
Is this related to Flora, Flora, the Lily of the West? Is that
Same.
okay, because I've heard kind of bluegrassy versions of it.
Yeah.
Tim O'Brien, I think, has a version. Awesome. Well, we're so excited to hear your version of it. This is Matt and Shannon Heaton, Lily of the West, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. But that's not the beginning of it. This is the beginning of Matt and Shannon Heaton, Lily of the West.
For to find there I spied a damsel fair, most pleasing to my mind. Her rosy cheeks and sparkling eyes like arrows pierced my breast. They called her lovely Molly, oh, the Lily of the West. Her hair in golden ringlets hung, her dress was spangled o'er, and she had rings upon her fingers brought from a foreign shore. She charmed both kings and princes, so costly was she dressed. She far exceeds Diana bright, the Lily of the West. I have crossed the seas to find the girl who brings me peace and rest. Still Molly sets my heart to flame, the Lily of the West. One day as I was walking down by a shady grove, I spied a lord of high degree conversing with my love. She sang a song delightful while I was so distressed. I bid adieu to Molly, oh, the Lily of the West. I stepped up to my rival, my dagger in my hand, and dragged him from my false love and boldly bid him stand. With desperation, I pierced him in the breast. I killed a man for Molly, oh, the Lily of the West. flaw in my indictment did in no time have me freed. That beauty bright I did adore, the judge did her address, saying, "Go, you faithless Molly, oh, the lily of the West." Now that I've gained my liberty, roving I will go. I'll ramble through old Ireland and travel Scotland home. She thought to steal my life away, she disturbs my rest. I still call her Molly, oh, the lily of the West. I have crossed the seas to find the girl who brings me peace and rest. Still Molly sets my heart aflame, the lily of the West. I have crossed the seas to find the girl who brings me peace and rest. Still Molly sets my heart aflame, the lily of the West.
Hey!
All right. I love the ending on that chord. It's nice and unexpected. That is Matt and Shannon Heaton, their take on Lily of the West from their 2009 release, Lover's Well, which we are revisiting today with Matt and Shannon joining us live for their home in Medford, Massachusetts. And as we were talking about how that song, of course, is, been played by lots of different people. I think the first time I heard it was actually Joan Baez singing it, but it's been done by so many people. But there's such a great energy that you bring to that song, and the singing is so beautiful. And you talked about how you started off, seemed as instrumentalists, but tell us a little bit about where you brought the singing into it.
Well, we've been around so much community music. That's really what Irish music is. It's folk music. It's people, it's usually in public shared spaces. And a big way that we've learned this music and experienced this music is in public settings, in public sessions, or, going to people's houses and meeting new people and hearing songs that way. So it was always around, we didn't lick it off a stone, like we always had been hearing these songs. And I love playing around with them, like Molly of the West, Flora of the West. There are lots of versions of the song, and we added a little chorus in there. That was just sort of our invention, but really inspired by lots and lots of different performances of it. So whether it's Joan Baez, amazing, or Tim O'Brien singing versions of that song, or just hearing versions of the song, along the way, it just feels kind of natural to sing it yourself as well. It's less of a performance and more just engaging in, moving this song along and trying it in different spaces. And speaking of hearing Tim O'Brien sing it, I was just over in Clare a few weeks ago, and he did a performance in Clare. And Chris was asking if we performed in Ireland in our favorite cities. And really one of my very favorite cities in Ireland is Ennis, where I just was for 2 weeks. And I was also over in November. And we played in Ireland a lot. And Clare is a favorite, as well as we love this little town of Craughwell in County Galway. But Ennis in County Clare is like a home away from home. We love it.
Yeah. And I was going to mention, just regarding the how do we get from instrumentalists to singing, one of the in Irish music, I find that, there are, so many fabulous singers, and who have incredible voices, and we've been lucky to work with some, but it's even with the best voice in the world, I feel like in Irish music it's more about the song than the singer, and which makes it it makes it a little easier to approach it yourself if you kind of go in realizing I wouldn't put myself out as this great singer, but I can deliver a song, and I like the song, and I want to share the song, and so
nice, the bards of yore
makes it easier to do it that way, huh?
We are like the bards of yore, and we got our version pretty, except for adding a chorus from this, and the illustrations are hilarious.
It's reprints of old broadsides, right?
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Wow, that's great.
Great book.
Well,
where did you find that book? Did you
It was a find, like at some old bookshop. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Colin McLaughlin. And Colin McLaughlin was a book printer, actually, which is how he kind of finagled a way to make nice, printings of this. There are 2 volumes, and
Yeah,
this
this
is the
is
first.
yeah. There's a. I mean, it's been reprinted in paperback and whatnot, but this is a nice old one that we found.
It's V
somewhere
special.
Yeah.
V special.
So cool. Well, I wanted, before we finish our conversation about this song, just because I'm a total noob, I love listening to all kinds of Celtic music and stuff, but I don't know a lot about it. When you're in the middle of that song and you take a little break, is that like a tune that is like associated with the lyrics, or is that you improvising? What was going on there during that instrumental part?
Well, for an album, typically we tend to arrange the songs. We're not just like jamming, right? So we've made kind of a nice presentation. We're going to do, these harmonies. We're going to have this groove. We're going to have this form. We're going to have a little bridge. We're going to add a chorus. And in that case, we had a tune in the middle. That's a tune called the Earl's Chair. It's a traditional tune. We just like the way that it sounded and felt in the context of that song. And just as often, we might just write a little break of our own, or use a tune that's inspired by the lyrics of the song, just like you said. It kind of depends.
Cool.
But one of our favorite things, I think, to do together is to arrange this material. I mean, it's great to sit down and just play it and kind of let it be organic. And then when you're taking it on a stage or on an album, I think it has, there's so much to this music. The bones are so strong that if we monkey around and we kind of deconstruct and reconstruct, we're not going to ruin the song. I mean, the songs are like so much older and bigger than we are that I think it can sustain a little heat and muckery.
Yeah. There is a like a as modern like when people started recording a lot in the 70s and whatnot, they of people arranging songs and sticking a tune in there. When you have a group like Planksty or the Bothy band, where you have like great singers and great instrumentalists all in the same thing, they might put together a song and then go into a tune. Tunes are the ones without words. Songs are the ones with words.
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, that is kind of a convention. We didn't make that up. It really, we were kind of going in the following the footsteps of some amazing arrangers before us.
Very cool.
Who thought to take this traditional music and kind of elevate it, arrange it.
And Wiley mentioned one of the versions that he knows is the Chieftains, of course, another great Irish band, but really liked your version. So, Chieftains and Matt and Shannon Heaton, right up there together. And we were talking about arranging these songs and putting your own stamp on them. Obviously, when you go in to record a song, you are kind of, even though your live performance might be different and evolve, you're kind of codifying it to a certain extent in your catalog, right? So how much had you worked on either Lily of the West or these other tunes? Like, how long had you been playing them before you brought them to the house to record?
A lot in this case. I think
I mean, in general, when we set out to record, we generally work everything out. At home, we've got the arrangements worked out, and then we try to play them out a lot too. Try to share them, try to get people's input, crowdsource them a bit. So when we go in to record, we know the way that we want to do these things. It's the way we've been doing them for a while, because we don't have unlimited budget. And also, I think there could be a sameness if we just sat down one week and like busked it all together. I don't know that it would have the variety and maybe some of the chances that we can take if we work it out.
We're pretty big believers in both road testing material, where, because you learn, you might think that you've done made a really good arrangement or written a good thing or whatever, but then you do it on a stage and you learn like, oh, actually it's whatever, it's too low for me, it's this or that.
That said, Brad's Honeybees, that track, we had definitely worked out the second tune. I wrote it, and I had taught it to my friend Dan Gurney. He plays the accordion, and he guested on that track. And we definitely knew we were going to do the second tune, but we did not know what first tune we were going to do. And we did it. We recorded it with Matt playing guitar and our friend Keith Murphy playing piano. And we just kind of like nosed around together until we found a groove and a tune that we liked. So that was kind of improvisatory. So you never know. I mean, like there's room for all of it.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's a great segue to the next track that we have lined up, so people can hear it for themselves. Is there anything else you'd want to say about Brad's Honeybees? I love that name.
Shannon wrote it for her stepfather Brad, who was keeping bees at the time.
Excellent.
He has since moved to an apartment and is not keeping bees, but
Probably wise.
yeah.
All right, let's give it a listen. This is Matt and Shannon Heaton with Brad's Honeybees here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Yeah. Wow.
That was so much fun to record now. I'm remembering. It's all coming back to me. I love this happy hour. It's all reminding us of
I love that. And I love that we get to listen to it, not just with all the folks out there tuned in, but with the artists that create it, because, most of us don't listen to our old records. And so hearing the tunes, which might have changed over the years, or you forgot how you recorded something, can be really a lot of fun. And I had a lot of fun listening to that tune. That's one of my favorites from this record, Brad's Honeybees. It's from the 2009 release Lover's Well, Matt and Shannon Heaton's album. They're joining us live to talk about it. Diane says, so fun. I agree. Lots of great instrumentation. You mentioned the accordion on that. Was that a button accordion on that?
Indeed. Yeah.
And sounding great. Tell us a little bit about the other instrumentation on that record, on that song.
Yep. On that track, it was flute and Irish flute. Now, Irish flute is a wooden flute, for those of you who don't know what it looks like. I should get it out and show you. But anyway, oh, I think there's a picture of it on the table next to where I recorded vocals.
Okay,
You
let
might
me
be
see.
able to find that.
I'll look for that. Yeah.
So it was flute and accordion holding down the melody of the tune. And then Matt on guitar, and then Keith Murphy on the piano. And that was it. And no overdubs, just all live. And I have to say at the end, it even sounded like it was like a drum almost. Like Matt has a wonderful, exciting, I think, right hand style and employs some muting, palm muting sometimes, which kind of makes a more percussive effect. That's it. The accordion now has the possibility of playing the melody and also some chords in the left hand. So there's some of that going on too. But it's amazing what you can do with just 3, 4, or even just 2 musicians. If you've really kind of worked out some concepts, you can convey a lot of ideas and a lot of music with just few voices.
And I love that the guitar. I mean, a lot of times in Irish music, the guitar is doing a lot of rhythm work. But I love that you mentioned that percussive quality, because I thought it was maybe a boron or something in the background, but that was all you, Matt. It's really great.
All me. Yeah, I don't know. Is there a boron on this?
No,
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't find that particular picture, but I did find a picture of one of your live streams, which is something we wanted to talk about anyway. So if people want to see what we're talking about here, it looks like the same room that you're in right now.
It was very close to the same shirt. I feel kind of glad I had my hand on that
earlier
one.
today.
Yeah, I feel like I dodged a bullet on that.
Well, that's just it. The cover of the Lover's Well album, I am wearing my friend Aoife O'Donovan's dress. I borrowed her dress for the photo shoot, which
Stroke
turns
of genius.
Stroke of genius. Have you had this experience where you show up to a gig and the poster on the wall is like you're wearing the exact same thing to the gig? So that never happened with this album because it was a borrowed dress.
Yeah. And is this Crooked Steel, Aoife?
Yeah.
Talking about? Wow, what a great connection.
Oh yeah, I know,
Cool
to borrow her dress. We're exactly the same size, and so for a few years, I traveled with her with a group called Child's Play, and I mean, it was great. Shoes and dresses we could interchange.
Well, and songs, because I know Crooked Steel had a version of Lily of the West.
Oh, there you go.
Awesome.
It was the same size.
It's all coming together.
Well,
and then when we played with Andrew Bird, he was not the same size as Matt, so we couldn't exchange.
Yeah.
Although,
Can you whistle, Matt?
I like him. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned Aoife O'Donovan because obviously she grew up in in that Irish music tradition in Boston, and there's such a rich Irish music tradition there. I'm guessing that's maybe what drove you to move to Boston. But are all the players that are playing on this record from the area?
Indeed, yeah. Eric Miro was living in Boston at the time, and same with Dan Gurney. And then Keith Murphy actually lives in Brattleboro, Vermont, but spends a lot of time in Boston. And we've worked with him in so many different projects over the years, and also dear friends with him. So everybody, and Kieran Jordan danced on the album. We have feet on a couple of different tracks.
Oh, nice.
She's in Boston, and Nick Garris also danced on the album, and he has real strong connections with all of us here. We've all collaborated.
We haven't talked him into moving here yet. But
And is Sam Amidon on this album? Sam is not on this album, but well, that doesn't really help.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Well, if
let me tell you about some other people who aren't on this album.
if you want to hear these other songs, we unfortunately we don't have enough time to play the whole record. But you know what? You're lucky because you can buy the whole record, and it sounds amazing. We say this every week, but you lose a lot of ones and zeros when you listen to music through the internet. MP3s are not full resolution. You don't get all those tasty sounds of these wonderful instruments that they're playing and the room that they're playing in. You get that with the high resolution digital files or the CD, and you can get both of those at shannonheatonmusic.com, which we've linked to in the comments. And I highly recommend you get yourself a copy because if nothing else, it goes a long way to showing artists how much you appreciate what they're doing. Because one album purchase is what 100,000 streams or something.
Yeah, something like this.
Yeah.
I will just to put in a plug for the CD. I quite a few years ago, bought a CD player, a used CD player that new would have been like $700. It was a really nice NAD CD player, and what do you know? It still sounds just as good.
I
So
bet.
I have no problem playing CDs.
And not to undermine us, and not to undermine this whole project.
Are we?
No, I wanted to say not to undermine any of it. But I'm also not anti-streaming and anti-finding people on YouTube. Like, I think it's not great financially for us, and it's an amazing way to connect with a lot of different music. I mean, like, it's kind of magic that we have all this music at our fingertips. And even if it isn't the full fidelity, it is kind of amazing that you can learn of and just enter into all of these music worlds now. Like, when we were kids, it wasn't like that.
We were speaking earlier about how we got into it. I forgot to tell my favorite story, which is somehow or other, when I was in college, I came into possession of a Shawnee Records catalog, printed catalog, and it was just I ended up ordering just a ton of different stuff, knowing nothing about it. Like, it was all just kind of like, well, this is a best of, and this is a best of, and so I just bought a whole bunch of best ofs, and I ended up with like this bizarre collection where I had the best of Silly Wizard and the best of the Kilfenora Cayley Band, and like I don't remember what else. Maybe it was some super traditional stuff and some more modern stuff. It was a very, very odd collection, but that's it was just harder to find music back then,
Mm-hmm. And but I see that you have quite a collection back there. One of these days it would be nice to dig into. We've had a lot of guests who have amazing record collections, and I'm seeing that you have quite one back there, I'm sure.
I wanted to find one of the old school Shawnee record ones, but that was the inspiration behind this project. Actually, we not only have we have a new CD, because what we wanted to do all the time for this wonderful lovers album is we wanted to share the bigger story, because we didn't have this back catalog listening party back in the day. And so we did that with our new album, is we made like a companion book to go along with it, inspired by those Shawnee records.
Oh, you want me to grab
full
one?
circle? No, not necessarily. Just full circle round. Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, that's cool. So again, that would be another reason, if you want to get the full liner notes, that's one thing you can get when you get the CD. But either way, ShannonHeatonMusic.com is how you can stay connected.
Yeah.
Also find tour dates, find the new record, which we're going to talk a little bit more about in a little bit.
And I want to just pop in and circle back to what you were saying, Shannon, about the kind of the benefits of streaming and YouTube and all these things and the way that it connects us. This is, like you mentioned, this is a community music. And I just want to put a plug in for the community that you guys have developed on YouTube. We showed this picture earlier. As I was prepping for this, I was like, oh, what are they into? And I got to listen to your music, and then I realized, wait, you also host a show much like ours where people are hanging out with you once a month and they're playing along at home. Can you just talk a little bit about these virtual guided sessions? Because I think it's a super cool idea.
We'd love to. We just celebrated the 4th anniversary of the virtual guided session. Of
the community, of this amazing international community that has surrounded us. All of us have surrounded one another and have surrounded these tunes for 4 years now.
It began, maybe not surprisingly, after the first week or two of lockdown.
Probably about when this show started.
Yeah, and we're like a lot of people, there was a lot of like, well, what should we do? I don't know. We were supposed to be leading a session that week, that day, whatever it was.
And it was supposed to be a learning session where we wouldn't play too fast. We played common tunes. People were really looking forward to it. We were really looking forard to it. It had been canceled.
It was something we had been doing where, it's just giving people who are learning the music, they can play, but they need it a little slower, a little whatever. And so we just decided, like, well, what the hell? Let's just try this. And
we thought that our local gang, like the 20 people who were going to come to this session, we thought maybe some of them would show up. And even that first time that we did it, it was like, wait, Aga from Poland. Wait,
Yeah, all
Shane,
these-
you're 13 years old today. It's your birthday and you're in Ireland. Wait, why are you all here? How did you find us? And the sound was terrible.
Oh my God.
The picture
We
was terrible.
we did it on an old laptop, and it was, just by by modern standards, it was just woefully primitive. But we, as like we saw that, like, wow, people really liked this. Well, let's do it again. And then we just kept doing it, and people kept tuning in, and then it sort of took on a life of its own. And we did invest in some better gear so that it's watchable.
However, we got this out of the basement, and this is a microphone that we did use to record Lovers Well.
Yes.
Eric Merrill used this
Oh.
to record, I think, Keith's feet.
Yeah, it
or
was sort of
something.
like the last ditch microphone, because it wasn't like in his mic cabinet. It was not. Here, I'm going, just a moment. We're going to do this thing here. This is it, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
The legendary Studio Projects B1.
It's such a subpar, it's such a very pedestrian microphone, and it has really what this little thing has done
I know.
to bring a lot of us
like
together.
every single
Like here today, Bob in Wisconsin and Carrie in Florida and some other folks have joined us. And then I see Joni just went and checked it out. Please come and join us.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
third Saturday.
Third Saturday of the month, 2
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern time.
But it
That's,
has just been so lovely how people have been so supportive of one another. And a number of people in our community have ended up meeting each other like in real life. And I'm talking like Allison in France went to meet Grania in County Kerry.
Nice.
Like, people have made like Loic in France went to meet Elise in Virginia. I mean, this is really lovely.
it really is. Yeah, and it's the thing I love about it, which I'm seeing here too, like the chat is very lively, and that makes all the difference. Because if you're doing a live stream and I mean, even if you can see like, oh, there's this many people watching, but no one's interacting, it's harder to get the energy up,
Right.
and yeah, so we do love the virtual guided session.
It is
100%.
Joni. It is Joni.
Yeah.
It is the beauty of music and community, how we can
mm.
surround each one another with something that's way bigger and older than just any of us, right?
Right.
And that's where I feel like we're very kindred spirits, because that was the whole point of this show in the beginning.
Mm.
And I just want to, again, tell people to head on over to Shannon Heaton music.com to learn more about this. Sign up, go to their YouTube channel, which is linked from there. And you can enjoy this too. I was listening to it just to see what it was about. I ended up watching the whole thing, and it's not, I mean, the music was great, so it wasn't, but it was also just the interaction that I was hearing between you and everybody else, and that's what we love about our community here too at the Back Catalog Listening Party. So if you're just tuning in or new to this program, that's 100% what we're about too. And so we appreciate hearing from you in the comments, and let us know if you have any questions for Matt and Shannon.
Well,
And
speaking
while
of,
I was just going to say, and while you're putting in those comments, we are going to want to move on to the next tune, because we want to at least get through 4 tunes. That's the goal.
Yeah.
But Shannon, tell us what you were going to say.
well, I was going to say, speaking of bringing people together, musicians together, we also have a number of dancers in our community, people who will tune in, and they'll do mostly sean-nós dancing and some Irish step dancing, which is really great. And on Lovers Well, we do have a track, Lover's Lament, that we recorded with our good friend Nick Garris dancing, because this dance and music connection for us is so essential. We really play dance tunes which are there to lift to kind of give the feet something to chew on. And also there is this kind of like heartbeat quality to more casual, organic community dancing. So we wanted to bring that together with the Lover's Lament track.
Yeah, which is this one. It's a song, and it's a song that I found the lyrics in a Carl Sandburg collection of American folk songs, and the arrangement, like, so when I'm memorizing lyrics, it takes me a very long time. I'm not a quick study with that at all. And so the only way I can do it is to just kind of like keep singing it in my head when I'm doing other things. And one of the other things I was doing was destroying a concrete retaining wall in the backyard with a sledgehammer. And it's kind of, I mean, this song is not a prison work song, but it's amazing that anything you sing while you're swinging a sledgehammer kind of takes on that quality. So I don't know if anyone hears it but me, but the guitar part definitely kind of is inspired by a sledgehammer.
Which could be a metaphor for relationships as well. This is Matt and Shannon Heaton, Lover's Lament, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
My dearest dear, the time draws near when you and I must part. Little do you know the grief or woe of my poor troubled heart. My love, you are some turtle dove that flies from tree to tree, mourning for its own true love, just as I mourn for thee. Oh, hush, my love, you'll break my heart, nor let me hear you cry, for the dearest friends will have to part, and so must you and I. Your cheeks are like some pink or rose that blooms in the month of June. Your lips are like some music sweet that sings this mournful tune. Oh, hush, my love, you'll break my heart, nor let me hear you cry, for the dearest friends will have to part, and so must you and I. My love, you are some sailing ship that sails the raging main. If I prove false to you, my love, the raging seas will burn. I wish your heart were made of glass, all in it I'd behold. Your name in secret I would write, in letters of bright gold. Your name in secret I would write. Believe me when I say you are the one that I love best until my dying day. Hush, my love, you'll break my heart, nor let me hear you cry, for the dearest friends will have to part, so must you and I. Hush, my love, you'll break my heart, nor let me hear you cry, for the dearest friends will have to part, so must you and I.
No.
Love that. Lover's Lament, Matt and Shannon Heaton here on the Back Catalog Listening Party from their 2009 album Lovers Well, which we are revisiting today on the show with Matt and Shannon joining us live. Penny says, I know this one is the Blackest Crow favorite. Yeah, a lot of these old tunes have kind of different variations. I love having the feet, the percussion in there. And that particular recording of feet was sometimes it's a lot more forward and a lot more like a tapping sound, but this had a lovely light shuffle kind of feel to it.
Brushes on a snare.
Yeah, or even beatboxing. Like it had that kind of light feel to it, which was really kind of breathy and lovely. So really nice.
Agreed. Yeah, breathy. I like that. And it was such a lovely experience to record that song with Nick with the feet, kind of the shuffly, and with our friend Keith Murphy playing the mandolin again. And then when we play it with just the two of us, I can hear all those sounds and that vibe in there. I feel like when we do it as a duo, it kind of sounds just like that because we're fed by those initial ideas. It's amazing when you feed your imagination, what you can kind of convey even with fewer voices. Is kind of cool. You know that experience.
Yeah.
Do you guys dance at all? Do you guys do any footwork?
No, but
just high kicks, just high kicks.
No, but we love playing with percussive feet so much.
Yeah.
Keith Murphy has joined us on feet on many occasions, as well as our friend Kieran Jordan and Nick. It's great. But speaking of Penny, speaking of The Blackest Crow or The Dearest Dear, Dahi Sproul has a beautiful version of this song with his own melody, The Dearest Dear. It's one of my favorite things ever. I just got to hear Dahi last weekend here.
And he lives here in the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
He does. So we're looking forward to coming to his neck of the woods in just a couple weeks. We're going to be at the Celtic Junction on Sunday, April 14th.
That's right. Coming right here to St. Paul, Minnesota, and then also coming to Chicago and Madison. So if you live in any of those areas, make sure to check out Matt and Shannon Heaton. And when you guys tour, is it just the duo, or are you bringing anyone with you on this run?
We're bringing our child.
Oh, well, that's good.
But he will not be joining us on
He'll
stage.
be playing the merch table.
Yeah, he'll be playing the merch table. Exactly.
Excellent. I love the sound of that.
Well,
The
they're
sound
usually
of
good
money
for tips.
moving.
Put them by the tip jar, and you're going to see a lot more in there.
In like ragged clothes.
Put diaper fund on
Please,
it.
may I have some more?
Well, speaking of which, there is a tip jar today. We don't have a sad-looking child to display, although you might hear my cat caterwauling in the background, pleading for you to support Matt and Shannon's music and fuel up their gas tank by throwing some money in the tip jar. If you like what you hear, of course, you can also buy their music on their website as well. And speaking of supporting things you love, we want to thank many of you out there, our regulars, our Patreon supporters, for supporting this show. We do have one more song to get to, don't worry. But we want to thank these folks for keeping this party going for us for over, 200 and something episodes?
203 here today.
203 episodes, also since 2020. So we want to thank, March of 2020, Penny, Anna, Linda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead Pick and Parlor, Severin, Lynn, Mary, Many Tracks, Nikki, Joni, David, CJ, Wiley, Stephanie, Christy, and our newest patron, Diane. Thank you all for supporting the show.
Yeah.
And if you want to support the show and get a back catalog listening party pint glass, which you can now sort of see a little bit better now that I've drunk a lot of my beer.
Officially empty here, so you can see
Yeah.
the logo on it.
That means it's been a good party. So
I
if you
know.
want to keep fueling the party, get your pint glass, invites to special after parties, you can go to our patreon.com/back catalog listening party. But right now we're going to take a listen to one more tune. Before we do, I just want to give you a chance to mention your new album, Whirring Wings, which is out now. And again, you're touring in support of it. It's available on your website. Is there anything you want to say about the new record?
What do we want to say about the new record?
Well, we're really excited about it. Yeah. Super excited about it. And our friend Vincent Crotty painted the cover.
Oh, wow.
In fact, this was taken from, he called us up and he said, I'm going to paint your cover. And I'd like for you to just have Nigel, your son, go outside right now. The light is beautiful. Go outside and take a photo. And so we did, right in front of our neighbor's garage, because the light was beautiful. And then Vincent took that photo and basically invented a different scene. This is not what our neighbor's yard looks like.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. That's a painting. Wow. I would have thought that was a photograph from here.
Yeah, it's an oil painting, and it's about this.
The real thing's pretty
It's
big.
about the size of that painting, in fact. And then we also indulged ourselves and just made a companion book that has all of the, notes about the tunes and, even transcriptions of everything, sort of telling backstories of things.
Amazing.
So that was a really fun thing to do, growing up with those Shawnee records with all those juicy liner notes. We wanted to do something like that just to show how each of these tunes for us, I mean, the tunes are great. and the associations and the stories from whom we learned the tunes and kind of what they mean to us, those are kind of bundled all in there too. And I don't know, you can't convey all that all the time. So we wanted to try that once just to show.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
that's the premise of our show here, really, is putting context to all this wonderful art. And if you want context for the new record and purchase it, head on over to shannonheatonmusic.com, where you can pick that up.
Yep. And it looks like Bob says the companion book is a delight. So got an endorsement right there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bob.
And from Carrie. So, well, let's get this next song because this is another one of my favorites. I'm really glad you picked this one. And I know there's a story behind it. So what do you want to tell us about this tune?
Well,
Yeah, go on.
which
Wow.
now, okay. So here, the person in the middle of this photograph with the beautiful two-toned shirt is the amazing Jirapon Lekpong, who is an incredible multi-instrumentalist and a very inspired singer. And the person from whom I learned some of my very earliest songs. I lived in Suphanburi, Thailand when I was 16 and 17, and then went back when I was 19 and went back when I was 21. And then for years, Matt and I did shows all over Thailand. Organized in part by Ajahn Jirapon. But she taught me this incredible song called Lao Duang Duan, which is from the 12th century. There I am playing it on Sa U, which is a stringed instrument, a two strings, attached bow, and bowed lap fiddle. With a few of my friends there. Like Irish music, Thai music is learned by ear and practiced in the company of a community. And so this is one of our very favorite songs that we would sing and play. And then here we are years later performing it in Thailand at Surat Thani in the south of Thailand. But anyway, this is one of my very favorite songs that I learned from Ajahn Jirapon, and it's called Lao Duang Duan, which means by the light of the full moon. And it's a very romantic song. This guy is singing to this woman, by the light of the full moon. And he's saying that her beauty is spilling around like the moonlight is spilling around. So we just wanted to include this on our album of love songs.
All right. Well, a wonderful way to finish up our hour here. This is Matt and Shannon Heaton here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Matt and Shannon Heaton finishing up the back catalog listening party with a tune mixing Thai and Celtic music, which is such a beautiful, beautiful tune from their 2009 album Lovers Well, which we have revisited with all of you joining us today. Chris says, wonderful show. And I agree. Tony and I were just thinking that we needed another hour to dive a lot more fully into all these songs. Just that last track alone, we could have spent a lot of time talking about. But you can buy this album, either the CD with all the beautiful liner notes, or you can get the digital files at shannonheatonmusic.com. You can find a link to all their tour dates coming up in the Midwest, in Chicago, Madison, and here in St. Paul, Minnesota, and find their new record there. And if you want to listen to this show again, this YouTube link will work, but you can also go to backcataloglisteningparty.com. We were looking at a lot of photos from the studio sessions today if you were joining us on YouTube, but you can go to the show notes at our backcataloglisteningparty.com. You'll find a link to view the video, find links to all these wonderful things we've been talking about, and see the photo gallery. So you can do that. If you liked the episode, like it on YouTube, direct more bots to Matt and Shannon Heaton, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel because Anthony and I do this every Friday at 4 p.m. Central, not with Matt and Shannon Heaton, sadly, but with other great artists. So you can join us next week for another edition of the Back Catalog Listening Party. Matt and Shannon Heaton, thank you so much. For
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
This
What
was
a pleasure.
really
You
fun.
guys keep it going for another 4 years. 4 more years. You're
4 more
great.
years.
We enjoyed it so much.
Oh, likewise.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and
we didn't even get to talk about your podcast or all the other things you're doing. So
Or
you
the
all
book,
have
yeah.
to go to your website.
Yes,
Seriously.
yes, and we'll have to have you back on. We'd love to have you
We'd love
have
to.
another hour with you sometime down the line. And for everybody else, we'll see you back here next week, next Friday at 4 p.m. Central on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Cheers, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.